Let me describe a conversation I hear constantly in school parking lots, in WhatsApp groups, and at dinner parties in Delhi, Bangalore, and even Indore. The mother complains that she wants to move the child from CBSE board to IB board, but the father is not agreeing. Dad's logic is that IB schools are unnecessarily expensive and do not keep your options open. Mother is worried that CBSE education is not preparing the children well for the world that we are living in. Now, everybody is nodding like they know what they are talking about. However, the harsh reality is that nobody fully understands, and the stakes are too high to just follow the crowd. Today, I am going to cut through the noise. Let's talk about real numbers, real trade-offs, and how to decide what's actually going to work for your child in 2026. Hi, I am Nishtha Tripathi, founder of Scholar Strategy and 24 North Star. Over the past decade, I've helped thousands of Indian families navigate the study, abroad, and career decisions from high school students to PhD candidates. I myself studied computer science from UIUC at full scholarship, dropped out of the MBA program at NYU, and worked on Wall Street before moving back to India to start my own ventures. I have lived the international education journey, the struggles, the wins, the harsh realities of it. And I started 24 North Star for one simple reason: to give Indian parents the honest, unbiased guidance on their child's education. No commission from any universities, no sugarcoating, just the truth about what works and what doesn't. If you're a parent feeling lost in the Indian education system, be it JEE, NEET, or even what board is right for you, you are in the right place. I will be posting videos every single week, so I hope you will follow along on this journey. Back to today's topic: which board should you choose for your child? Here's what we are going to cover. 1. A quick and honest snapshot of each board. 2. The single biggest problem with those boards that nobody admits. 3rd, the one scenario where each board makes the most sense. And 4, my final tips. Let's go. First, let me do a quick reality check on scale because that matters. Now, as of 2026, India has roughly 27 to 30,000 CBSE affiliated schools. ICSE has about 2,300 schools, very selective network concentrated mostly in metros. Cambridge IGCSE now has over 700 schools in India, and the March 2025 exam session recorded over 85,000 exam paper entries, which is a 11% jump over the previous year. IB schools offering the diploma program, which is the grade 11-12 part that most parents care about, the number is around 220 to 250. Total IB affiliated schools, including PYP and the middle year program, are around 1,500, but the DP schools are what matter the most for our conversation. Now, why does scale matter? Because the more schools there are, the more options and competitions you have. So Cambridge is growing faster than IB in India right now, which is an important signal. Start with the CBSE, which I call the backbone board of India. With 27,000 schools, this one has the widest reach. It has the government approved NCERT curriculum. No school in India is better designed for one specific purpose, that is, if you want to crack JEE or NEET exam. The CBSE Math and Science syllabus at classes 11th and 12th are essentially the same material that JEE and NEET follow. If your child is in CBSE and doing the JEE coaching, they are not doing the double work. The coaching classes align with your board. That is a massive practical advantage, to be honest. Now, in terms of fee, CBSE schools range enormously from few thousands at Kendriya Vidyalaya to 2.5 to 3.5 lakh at premium DPS institutes. It varies a lot. Most solid metro CBSE private schools are in 80,000 to 2 lakh per year range. Now, the biggest problem with CBSE board is once you start looking for options abroad. If your child is in CBSE and also planning to apply abroad for undergrad, they are doing double the work. Top universities abroad, especially in the US and UK, they look at leadership projects, research potential, community impact, and extracurriculars. CBSE schools generally don't build any of this into the school curriculum. So your child has to pursue academics for the board, JEE coaching on the side, and then somehow also build a compelling global profile completely on their own time. That is a brutal ask for a 16 or 17-year-old kid. CBSE right for you if your child's plan is to just sit for JEE, NEET, CUET or any Indian competitive exam. Period. If that's the goal, there is no better board. Don't overthink it. Just go with it. Also, if your family relocates frequently, CBSE wins by default. It is the only board where you can change city and find an equivalent school almost anywhere. ICSE has far fewer schools. IB and Cambridge are even more restricted geographically. Now let's talk about the ICSE board, which I also call as the English Experts Board. There are 2,300 schools, selective, English medium, mostly urban. ICSE for class 10th and ISC for class 12th is how it goes. Now, ICSE is genuinely harder than CBSE in terms of language, depth, and analytical rigor. The English paper in ICSE is more demanding. Literature and language are separate subjects. The sciences also are detailed, though not as numerically intense as CBSE. However, there are interesting electives as well, like home science, fashion design, agriculture, cookery, that gives ICSE a creative breadth that you may not find in CBSE. In terms of fee, ICSE metro schools typically run between 1 to 5 lakh per year. The Cathedral and John Connon School in Mumbai is on the higher end. Bishop Cotton School in various cities are mid-range. Many very well regarded ICSE schools are in 1.5 to 3 lakh per year bracket. Now the biggest problem with ICSE, let's understand. ICSE is a strange in-between board. It is more rigorous than CBSE, but it is less internationally recognized than either Cambridge or IB. It is Indian, so it doesn't give the same flexibility that international curriculum, but it is not tightly aligned with Indian competitive exams as well as CBSE. So this can leave your kid somewhere in middle because it's too demanding for students who want to crack JEE efficiently, but it's not recognized enough for students who want to apply to the global universities. The ISC class 12 percentage grading also creates a specific problem. ICSE is known to give lower raw percentages than CBSE due to the harder marking, which historically put the students at a disadvantage in any percentage-based admission cutoff systems, be it India or even Singapore universities, which are very academically oriented. So this can hamper your child's chances at such colleges. But let me share a story here. One student who switched from ICSE to IB from class 11th commented that the depth of language and analytical training from her ICSE made IB writing task feel much more manageable for her than for CBSE batchmates. So this is ICSE's biggest hidden advantage, I would say, the written foundation it gives, and that does matter for study abroad applications later on. So I would still pick ICSE if your child loves English, if your family loves English, humanities, has a creative bent, and is likely to stay in India for college, and your family is something that deeply values the literary and analytical foundation, then ICSE can still be a solid choice for you. Now let's talk about third board, which is the Cambridge IGCSE. I call it the flexible middle path. There are 700 schools as of 2025 recognized in over 160 countries. Cambridge is not one thing, it's a pathway. IGCSE is for class 9th and 10th. After that, students typically move to Cambridge A-levels or IBDP for classes 11th and 12th. Many schools in India actually offer IGCSE in the middle years and then give students the choice for IBDP or A-levels at senior secondary. This is actually smart because it keeps your options open. Now, Cambridge curriculum lets students choose from over 70 subjects. You can combine physics, chemistry, math with business studies and art and design, something you simply cannot do in CBSE or ICSE board. They also have a course called Global Perspective, which is becoming more popular among Indian students in 2026. That flexibility is real and meaningful for students whose interests don't neatly align into the science or commerce buckets. Talking about the fee, Cambridge school fee in tier 1 cities typically run 4 to 8 lakh per year. Tier 2 cities are 2.5 to 5 lakh, and at the premium end you are even looking at 10 lakh per year or more. Let me now talk about the biggest problem with the Cambridge IGCSE board, and that is the pathway problem. IGCSE is for class 9th and 10th, and it's great, but it doesn't end there. You need to then decide between A levels and IBDP for class 11th and 12th. If your school offers only IBDP, you need to make sure your child is ready for that jump, because IBDP is significantly more demanding, and students who are not well prepared for that shift can really struggle. Secondly, Cambridge does not prepare you for JEE or NEET, because A-level syllabus do not overlap with Indian competitive exam content. An A-level physics student will have done very different problems than a JEE aspirant. This is manageable, but it is real extra work. But Cambridge is right for you if you are flexible on the destination and you do not want to spend on the IB school fee. In that case, Cambridge can be a good middle ground. Coming to the final board, the IB, which I also call as the Global Passport. Although there are 220 to 250 IBDP schools in India now, it is still mostly concentrated in the metros and premium segments. I mean, look at the fee itself. The standard fee is 10 to 20 lakh per year, and the good ones can go even higher. Now, the IB diploma program, which is what the parents mean when they actually say IB, it goes for classes 11th and 12th. Before that, you have IB primary program for classes 1 to 5 and middle year program for classes 6th to 10th. But the DP is actually the flagship. Now, IB signature is the interdisciplinary approach. That is its strength. Students study 6 subjects along with the extended essay, which is a 4,000 word research paper. They study theory of knowledge, and then there is CAS, which is creativity, activity, service. This is 150 hours of extracurricular work. None of this is optional. It is baked in, and this is exactly what global university admissions officers are also looking for. And this is why IBDP graduates have a structurally stronger study abroad application than the CBSE students. Not because IB is smarter, but because the program forces the students to build a research paper, build community service record, and cross-disciplinary thinking, all of which are required anyway for a good US application. But it's not all good news. Let's look at the biggest problem with the IB schools, and that is the lack of trained teachers. Many IB schools have CBSE teachers who are not yet fully trained on the IB pedagogy. So you are paying the hefty fee, but the teaching does not deliver the quality you expect. A top IB school in Bangalore or Mumbai might still be fine, but a new IB school in a tier 2 city that got its authorization only 3 years ago may still be running what looks like a CBSE content which is dressed up in the IB format. And here's the specific red flag to watch out for. Ask the school what percentage of their IBDP students actually scored 35 or above out of 45. A well-run school will have 40 to 60% students above 35. If the number is lower, that is your clue. The second problem is Indian college admissions. IB grades convert poorly to Indian percentage systems. If you get 35 out of 45 IB score, which is actually decent, it can translate to 55 to 65% in the Indian equivalent formula, which is well below the cutoffs for top colleges or even Singapore admissions. The only Indian institutes that comfortably accept IB students on their own terms are newer private universities like Ashoka, OP Jindal and Shiv Nadar. If your child goes through IB and then wants to come back to India for college, the options narrow significantly. And the last problem is, of course, the cost. It is almost double the cost of CBSE schools, and not every family can afford it. Still, IB is great for you if study abroad is the plan, not a maybe, but a committed direction. If your child is aiming for US, UK, Canada, Singapore, Australia, and the family is genuinely prepared for the financial and life commitment that goes with the IBDP, it is one of the strongest foundations you can give them. I myself have seen stellar students from IBDP, and I like their interdisciplinary approach a lot, but go in with your eyes open on the school quality question. I want to leave you with my final tip. And the most common mistake that I see Indian parents make is treating the board choice like a brand purchase. They choose IB because it sounds prestigious or CBSE because everyone in the family went with it, without actually thinking about what the specific child needs. The board is not the product, the school is the product. A brilliant CBSE school with excellent teachers and strong extracurriculars will give your child a better outcome than a mediocre IB school where the teachers are just recycling the CBSE content with the new terminology. Choose the board that fits your child's direction, then choose the best school you can find within that board. And if you do decide to switch boards, better to do it either in class 6th or 9th. Avoid changing it in the 11th grade. If you want help working through this decision for your specific child situation, drop a comment below with your city, your child's grade, and whether you are leading India or abroad. I read every comment and I will do my best to reply. Also, do you want me to do a detailed video for any of these boards? Again, let me know in the comments. I hope this video was genuinely helpful for you. If it was, please do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Alright, I will see you next week. Stay safe and take care.